One of the curious things about Constantine Cavafy's poetry is the consistency with which he maintains his style throughout his career. Some of this has to do, I'm sure, with the infrequency with which he published. He tended to walk around with his stuff for a long time in folders and just circulate it among friends. You can see the predilection for short declarative sentences, simple sentence structures, even in translation, the variation between long sentences and short sentences, and a kind of variance there, creating an interesting rhythm and stylistic punctuality. You can see this in when the Watchman saw the light, one of his earlier poems. It was written around 1900, when he was still a relatively young man, and it betrays to a extraordinary degree the concerns that he would be mulling over in his poetry for the rest of his life. Winter and summer the watchman sat on the roof of the palace of the sons of Atreus and looked out. Now he tells the joyful news. He saw a fire flare in the distance, and he is glad, and his labor is over as well. It is hard work night and day, in heat and cold, to look far off to Arachnaeon for a fire. Now the desired omen has appeared. When happiness arrives, it brings a lesser joy than expected. Clearly, we've gained this much. We are saved from hopes and expectations. Many things will happen to the Atreus dynasty. One doesn't have to be wise to surmise this now that the Watchman has seen the light, so no exaggeration. The light is good, and those that will come are good. Their words and deeds are also good, and we hope all will go well. But Argos can manage without the Atreus family. The great houses are not eternal. Of course, many will have much to say. We'll listen, but we won't be fooled by the indispensable, the only, the great. Some other indispensable, only, and great is always instantly found. Of course, you need to have the context of this in terms of the Greek legend of the House of Atreus, of Agamemnon, the end of the Trojan War, the signal fires that announce the Trojan War, the end of the Trojan War, that are seen from a distance, setting up this element of communication, of transmission, of publication, perhaps. The hesitance of it, the curiosity of it, and the fractiousness of it, broken up into many different segments along the way. Signal fires stretching hundreds of miles across the Aegean basin from Troy to Greece proper. And here also the element of Agamemnon returning. He is not mentioned by name in here, but the hinting of it, the oblique hinting of it. When you see the end of the war, that means that Agamemnon and everybody else will be coming home. Now we, from our perspective, know that Agamemnon shows up at his house. His wife and her lover kill him, and then his son goes and exacts revenge against them, and it is a bloodbath, and it is just a continuation of the long, bloody, ugly history of Agamemnon and the House of Atreus. And so we have that perspective. And when you see good news like, yay, the war is over, it is tempered by that. Now, the Watchman in this case is a rather obscure figure. He is not the big hero of the Trojan War. He is really just a grunt. He is a palace servant. He is perhaps a soldier, a fairly low-level guy whose job it is to just stare at the horizon and wait for some word. And now, after 10 years, it has come. And he even seems to feel that presentiment. When happiness arrives, it begins a lesser joy than expected. unexpected. That sense of maybe on some level he is intuiting what we know, that more bloodshed is going to come, that this is not necessarily the end of all misery. Perhaps it's just the beginning, or the end of the beginning, or the beginning of the end. We don't know. But it is a sense of we just have to take more. And this is a primary characteristic of so much of Cavafy's work. That sense of fatalism, that sense of futility, the sense of the unheroic nature of reality, where we're just going to have to accept that life is hard and joys are ephemeral and very transient. The greatness of this poem, I would say, or the greatness of the portrait of the poem, of the content of the poem, is all seen from a somewhat askew manner. We are encouraged to see this from a certain perspective, the perspective of the marginal figure of the Watchman, instead of the great heroic figures of the Trojan War. So we're already being introduced with that. The idea also of the signal fires. This is a different kind of communication, a different kind of perspective. What does this mean? We are being encouraged to consider these issues of interpretation, of meaning, of communication, and see them that they need to be puzzled out. Good news on the surface doesn't mean good news overall. It needs to be puzzled out. So, no exaggeration. The light is good, and those that will come are good. Their words and deeds are also good, and we hope it will all go well. But Argos can manage without the Atreus family. The idea that this is significant, that this one thing means that everything is going to get better, is wrong. This one centrality that everything's going to be okay is wrong. And the centrality of the Atreus family is, in fact, wrong. We don't really need them. Great houses are not eternal. Of course, many will have much to say. We'll listen, but we won't be fooled by the indispensable, the only, the great. Some other indispensable, only, and great is always instantly found. Look at the capitalization of indispensable, only, and great. And it is great. It is supposed to be momentous, supposed to be monumental. It is supposed to be central to our lives. But like so much else in the modernist age, so much else in that early 20th century, these illusions are falling away. And if you take the capitals away from those three words, you are left with some other indispensable, only, and great is always instantly found. These things are passing. These things are ephemeral. You can't get caught up in them. Yes, they're going to go away, just like happiness itself is going to go away. It will all pass. It will all just move on, move on, move on. It doesn't really matter. This is the impermanence that you see in Cavafy's work. This is the iconoclastic attitude of him to time, to greatness, to everything. The idea in a kind of a stoic way that, okay, it's going to pass. The happiness is going to pass. We're all just going to have to trudge through. The great figures of life are going to pass. These great moments of success and joy are going to pass. All of that is going to pass, and the good news is we're going to be okay. The bad news is other problems are probably going to arise. Fatalism, futility. Cavafy doesn't try and make us feel better about it. He just tries to look at reality with no illusions. And so maybe we can lower our expectations and not be disappointed.